Hi, everyone. Welcome to Out of the Band, a new Microsoft security podcast. We're covering topics around cybersecurity, compliance, security, and posture management across Purview, identity, and devices. My name is Andrew O'Young. I'm currently a Microsoft MVP in the security space for the Intune category. My day to day is a Microsoft modern work and security and Copilot pre-sales specialist, and I also help with partner enablement. So I work at Data. It's a software and hardware distributor, but in the Microsoft Cloud team. So one of our main focuses is helping other Microsoft partners be equipped to sell and configure the services that all their customers want to be using with the right security and compliance in mind. I also run the Adelaide Microsoft ID Pro community user group slash meetup, and I'm fairly active on most of the socials, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, and so on. I'll hand it over to Anthony.
Yeah, appreciate it. So yeah, hey there. I'm Anthony Porter, but most people just call me Anto. I'm from Perth, West Australia, born and raised. I'm around 15 years of experience in IT, where the last 5 years have been pretty much solely focused on the Microsoft Cloud technologies. In my journey, I passed through managed services help desk, where I then progressed into some of the cloud infrastructure space, where now I've started to refine and specialize within cloud security. I currently work at Canon Business Services as a cloud security architect, where I expertise in areas such as Microsoft Intune and Defender. Throughout my career, I've earned many certifications, and I've become a regular at some of the Perth-based security meetups, where I've also had the pleasure of being able to present. Outside of work, I genuinely just like to hang out with my family. I got a wife and little boy. I used to be an avid FPS gamer and a Twitch streamer at some stage, but nowadays I'm pretty much just playing with my car and collecting Hot Wheels. Feel free to connect to me with me on all of LinkedIn, and as I'm always happy to chat, collaborate, and help out. But yeah, that's me. I'll chuck it over to Shehan.
Hi everyone, I'm Shehan. So I'm from Adelaide as well. As Andrew mentioned, I'm also a Microsoft MVP in Intune and Identity and Access Management. I work in Bastion Technology Services. So we are a cybersecurity organization. We are placed in different places in government and private. So I'm helping customers for their projects and long-term projects and short-term projects. About me, I'm a blogger, so I maintain a blog called emsroute.com. I'm pretty sure most of you have already seen that. So I write about Microsoft Defend XDR, Intune device management, and also identity and access management and everything in between. A little bit about me. I'm from Sri Lanka. My IT career goes back to 2007. Started from help desk and then specializing, and then now I'm at the moment working as an security architect, specializing in identity and endpoints. So outside of work, I'm a bit of a metalhead. I like going to rock concerts and whatnot. I'm a Microsoft. Apart from Microsoft, I'm a Star Wars fan, as you can see, and also some Marvel stuff going on as well. So I collect stuff. So that's my life apart from the Microsoft and the tech stuff. Yeah, so that's me. I think this idea started when we had a quick chat some time ago, thinking we need to do something to the community other than our speaking, writing, and supporting the community with our knowledge. So that's how we came up with this out of the band podcast, talking about security and everything in between. Today, cybersecurity is a very major component in everything that we do, and Microsoft plays a big part. every day there's something coming up in those in those products, and new features coming up as well. So I think it will be a good opportunity for us to sit down and chat about those stuff. And who knows, this can be helpful to someone who wants to learn more about this stuff, and use that knowledge in their organizations to go ahead with the projects. Is that right, guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think a lot.
And
You go.
okay, I was going to say, yeah, and particularly with the name Out of the Band, it is kind of a play on, having security updates that are emergency. You must patch this now because it's something that's like a 0-day critical vulnerability. So usually it's an in-band update. So out of band update is the emergency patch. That's the name of our show.
Yeah, I think in saying that, I think the whole community in itself is a collaborative effort. Cybersecurity is a collaborative effort, which is why this podcast came about. I think the idea is that having the platform that you can then discuss things that are new, things that are coming out, what's our thoughts on these things, is the best way to approach cybersecurity in itself. I think anybody going into the security industry alone is essentially, I'd probably say, the wrong way, because the amount of knowledge that's out there, the amount of knowledge of people that are out there, the way to get to genuine community. And this is just another way that we, as a group of mates, as well as a group of professionals, can. But no, thank you all for coming to our podcast Zero. This is a little bit less structured to what we probably will do in future. But I think the idea was, getting in there, getting started, just kind of explaining what we are, what we plan to do, what we plan to achieve, and then going from there, seeing where the old ride takes us, really. But no, I appreciate you all tuning in, stepping in. I believe we'll be posting this on all the podcast streaming as well as YouTube as well. So there's a video as well to the audio. So if you're hearing one and not the other, why? But yeah, thanks again. Honestly, we appreciate your all your clicks, we'll call it. But yeah, I mean, in a general first topic, I just want to bring up that there's a lot happening in the Microsoft space to begin with. Let alone we finished off 2024 with some pretty big updates from Ignite. But now you're somewhere in 2025, which is scary to think. And there's a lot that's happening. Anybody want to bring up any of it recently that you believe is key?
Yeah, I think we were talking this offline as well. The 24H2, the security baseline that's coming up into Intune. Now, I think that's really good because the 23H1 was the last one that was available, if I'm correct. I had to check that anyway, but 24H2 is coming up. That's pretty much aligning with the new Windows 11 features, which is good. So I think we can discuss more about that in a different episode, like how you migrate from your standards, your current baseline, and I think there are some updates from Edge as well when it comes to baselines. And I saw a different baseline for HoloLens. I don't know. It's just new stuff where we can touch base as needed. So yeah, so that's something new that I saw recently. Like that, there are lots of things that sometimes we can't keep a tab about, but they are just coming in every day. Yeah, very excited to talk about those stuff, and also the standard current technologies that we have. Entra ID management, device management as a whole, how everything connects into the same ecosystem, and how Defender comes in and grab those information to its benefit to get the investigations happening and send back those investigations, those logs back and forth to Sentinel if needed and whatnot. So I think it's a good time to talk about those stuff. Lots of exciting things happening. So yeah, so I'm very happy we started this podcast.
I was going to say, with the finish of Ignite, I'd say some of my main takeaways from that have been more around the data space. Now, personally, I think that the data space is not as discussed as what it should be, given that the rise of AI is here. But I did notice that there is some in progress where they're making it a lot easier to protect your data, especially against Copilot. The protection of Copilot in itself, where we can essentially ensure that your data, some of your data you don't want to show up in Copilot, and it's very obscured as to how you avoid that from occurring. Right? You need specific sensitivity label, configuration, and whatnot. But I did recently see that they are in the works, or it might even be out right now. That you can use data loss prevention, and depending on the sensitivity label, you can just have a blanket DLP policy to just prevent it from being seen by Copilot. I think that in itself is something that should have happened probably a little bit earlier, but just the ability to blanket a label to say, I don't want this to be by AI, gives a lot more confidence to people to actually start adopting Copilot security. Copilot for M365, or Microsoft 365 Copilot. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
we've
that's
renamed. We'll rename again. I'm sure we will. But
no more new names.
yeah, no. Actually, I quite like that it's now just Microsoft Copilot Security, Microsoft 365 Copilot, and then Microsoft Copilot, which is Copilot for the web. Is that right? Is that what we're calling it now?
There's going to be a Microsoft Copilot Chat, which will replace
That's
BizChat, which they'd only just renamed back to.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and you led this in conversation, or this topic with data, and it's also really around information as well. So data and information security, same thing with Ignite. There were so many announcements and changes, even within Purview itself. So that is the compliance suite, I guess you can call it that. And even that had its own name changes. So trying to keep on top of those things is much of a challenge as of anything. And yes, that ability to now create DLP policies based on a label is really handy for that fine granular level of, or file level granular control of what Copilot can and can't reason over. So at this point, there's about 5 different methods you can kind of use to protect your data from inadvertently being accessed via Copilot chat. So that being one of them, you can apply sensitivity at the site level. So an entire SharePoint site, any of the containers, so any of the document libraries within that, they will inherit that sensitivity label. So all files created will become labeled. There's something called restricted SharePoint searching, yes, where you create a list about up to 100 sites in SharePoint that Copilot is allowed to use. This will break the general search capabilities in that organizational search bar at the very top, which is this is one of those options you turn on as a quick let's get adopted, then actually apply to security and compliance settings, then turn that off so that you can reap the proper benefits using Copilot. There's also things like SharePoint Advanced Management, where you can then go, you're only allowed to use these folders, those files, and so on. And one more other thing, I can't quite remember what it
you
is.
can just remove it from the index. I think that was one. You can
Yeah,
just
the
remove it from
sites.
indexing.
Yeah, that was actually funny enough. That was in the applied skills list.
Yeah. You can just remove it from it being indexed, and then
Index. Yeah.
it just goes, right? It's gone.
But
Probably not the best approach.
nah, you kind of want it to be the most robust kind of system, but it also needs to be very secure. So there's a lot of consideration. So while everyone's going, I want AI, I want Copilot, they're not really ready for it, or they might be ready for it, but they're not prepared for it in that sense. So
I
we
think
can spend a whole session talking about that.
Yeah, I just put up the book of news for this year's, sorry, last year's Ignite. Pretty much for Purview there are 10 updates, whereas for security they just one. Copilot as a whole, security Copilot just one. Intune only 2. So as you said, Anto, there are lots of data side things happening compliance wise, mainly for Purview. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to see, because I think, despite the fact that they've changed the portal again, I'm struggling to find where some things are.
It's
It looks
good
good.
in that they've grouped together relevant solutions rather than in the past we had to jump between different bits. But it's
Oh,
still messy in terms of this used to be here, or why isn't this listed on this, or if you do the applied skills with the Purview in mind, the second one, with all the records management and all that stuff, it became very obvious that, oh, this is called something else now, but it's expected that it's this one,
Yeah.
not that one, but the same thing almost. Yeah, so
Mm.
it's a lot to be aware of. And I think we can probably go down that rabbit hole at some stage.
Yeah.
Just Microsoft Learn, applied skills, exams and certification.
Yeah, I mean, I recently sat an applied skills. I believe I sat and it has a defender related name. So let me go and find exactly which one. I recently sat the defend against cyber threats with Microsoft Defender XDR, and I quite liked it. Like, I thought it was a good breadth of, it's essentially fresh defender environment and hitting the ground running to ensure that you have defended your environment successfully, as well as the ability to act upon threat if there was one. And I think it was a really good open door for anybody that's not got defender experience to kind of have a fresh environment where you are essentially tasked with exactly what you would need to do in a brand new environment. It was quite. I think the worst part is waiting for defender to initialize. You sit there and you've got a timer and you're like, oh, cool. You refresh cache like every 5 seconds and hope for the best that you're ready to go. But I think I finished it in like 45 minutes or something
All
like
right.
that. But yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, you get 2 hours. That's plenty of time.
Yeah.
Any timer applied, I'm freaking. Like,
Yeah.
I'll sit in an exam and I'll wait for the final 2.5 hours. I'll watch that clock. Um, but look, yeah, I quite enjoy the applied skills. I think they are fun. I don't think they are that stressful. And if you do think they are that stressful, I don't think it needs to be that serious. I believe that it's free. If you fail, nobody needs to know. You can wait 72 hours and give it another go.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, it's not punishing at all versus a proper exam.
yeah,
And for those that tuning in who aren't familiar with an applied skill, it's a new credential type, where it's focusing on a specific task or a set of tasks that you would perform under a certain role. So, say you're an admin in Azure, maybe you're just securing file shares in Azure Files. That's your main focus there. You're doing maybe 5 different tasks to set up the share, set up security and all that other stuff, and then you hit submit, and it kind of analyzes and assesses what you've done. Sure, there may be sometimes different ways to go about doing certain tasks, but it'll check in the end. I'm using PowerShell to go, is state equals this? Yes, no, and then that's how you pass or fail. So sort of, yeah, nice practical hands-on way of showing you can do certain things without going all the way into an exam, which can be a lot more stressful. There's a lot more preparation that's required. So
I think
yeah, that's what
a large proportion of where I find it beneficial is for managed services or your help desk staff that want to show that we can do those upper bits. We can do that level 3 level work. We can start to look towards those those projects and whatnot, and it gives almost an avenue for those that help desk might not be paid the most money. And with interest rates and everything the way they are right now, we've all got our money in other locations other than certifications, which is why I think applied skills is brilliant. But it also gives the little guys a chance to shine and really grow. It's also something that a lot of these folk in help desk have tested to be able to play with. So really, if you needed to fire up and learn something, you could just fire up an applied skill and do exactly that, or have a bit of a look around. Like, you don't get deducted any points for side questing a little bit and just seeing what else is available.
it's open book. Yeah.
It is
I
open
mean,
book.
even before we get to an applied skills, you should be looking into Microsoft Learn, because there's learning pubs, and some of those modules actually contain these sandbox environments where you fire up and you actually do those same tasks. So the applied skills is just pressuring you to do the same task in another environment in a set amount of time.
Yeah. And also, I think even if you if you have the developer portal, some licenses are not available. Like the licensing features are not available. Example, MDE Plan 1 or Plan 2. So I think applied skills would give you that opportunity to get into that and use the defender as you want, given that scope, and then get that knowledge in the endpoints and whatnot.
I think another benefit was it was recently discussed within an organization where project managers, right? They've got a bit of technical knowledge. They don't have the whole technical knowledge. But if they come into a project and they want to know a little bit more about what's to be done, there are specific, specialized applied skills for some of the most day-to-day tasks within it. So go and set up Sentinel, go and protect some data, like all of it. And they are bringing out many, in the upcoming year. There is a lot that can be looked at, even from a curious mind rather than a technical mind. So in the end, once again, nobody knows if you fail. If you're just going to look at it to try and get a bit of features that you can't get through the sandbox or through the dev tenant, by all means. But even if you're not technical and you want to see what's around, what's available, or even just give it a go, right? Some people want to upskill, but it's not required for their job. But this is another way where you can do it, without being out of pocket of it.
I think couple of years ago versus today has been changed when it comes to the the docs, technets, and everything. I think when I first started doing the certifications, it's just you have a printed book or the PDF if you can download from somewhere, and there can be some video somewhere, so CBT nuggets or train signal or whatever. No YouTube or anything like that. No useful information in the YouTube. So it was really hard to get that information, in that form and to do the exam. So I think versus today has been, it revolutionized everything with Microsoft's way of, informing the community what's going on and how technology works and everything. So I'm really happy to see those stuff.
Yeah, I think as soon as they open it up, is it open source? It's on GitHub, right? You can submit changes and recommendations
Everyone
towards the
can
actual.
contribute as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a lot of the tech community coming in, and they're building out those learn modules and also curating and vetting it. So it's really the community's training itself to kind of get on board there.
I think Microsoft themselves are doing a really good job in the space of giving you enough resources as well. Like they're not holding things to their chest. Everything is kind of out there. Like for example, your exam prep, 100%. I remember, I think YouTube, John Saville, thank you. And Udemy, right? Like, yeah, everybody, yeah, you done study, you done John Saville. Like massive props to him. Thank you for AZ104. But essentially, now you've got questions, exam questions. Here's 50 questions that you can, like, you go to book the exam, you scroll a little bit below. Here's 50 exam question styles to give you a head start. And really, they're not the exam questions, but they give you either the right idea as to what you're about to sit, because you may never have sat an exam before. And by all means, I think the first exam I sat, I failed. And it was purely because I probably went in with a bit more of an ego and a bit of a she be right attitude. And then got humbled. I think I got 690, and I was like, yeah, right. I was like, no, don't worry. Like a week later, I went and sat it and I passed. But that was 104. And once again, cheers, John Saville.
Yeah, they changed that a couple of years back.
I can remember the first exam I did, that was 70-640, Vista something.
Oh, Vista.
Vista client, yeah. Configuring Vista client or something. And then it was the MCP, and then back in the day, they didn't have the MCCS or MCSC anymore. They had
MCSA.
Yeah, MTS,
and then on to MCSE.
yeah. So AD and all. So I'm pretty much in the second generation, I think, not the first one. Yeah, first wave. But yeah, so that was really interesting time, challenging time, I think, to get the information in the right way.
So what? Yeah. Nobody's buying books these days, is what you're trying to
say? They're still writing and printing these books to help you with the study, but they're not It's not like underneath the exam registration, it's like, oh, this is the essential information. It's not just a link to the PDF or the store. It's
Mm.
here's a Microsoft Learn learning path modules. Here's links to other resources and all that stuff. And just based on what you mentioned before, the sample questions, there's also like a little sandbox where you can kind of open it up and see what the exam will look like on the day. So here's the terms and conditions, here's what to expect, here's a few sample questions,
That's
the way
right.
you answer them.
Yeah.
And I think last year or the year before, they dropped in new accessibility features. So you can go dark mode. There's Microsoft Learn is available inside the exam now, so it's semi-open book. That's also
Yeah.
a trap because you end up going through that trying to find things and you run out of time because you can't find what you're looking for.
Yeah,
So
it
it's
happens to me actually.
double-edged blade.
The cybersecurity architect exam I think actually last October. So I had the learn documents just facing me. It was really useful, but I found myself getting drowned in the pages sometimes if I don't know the correct keyword to search.
Yeah.
I think the keyword would be the keyword here, to be honest, to get stuff done, to to find the answer quickly. But if you go with general terms, it will just keep on going, and it will just at the end of the time, you will not be able to finish the exam on time. Yeah.
Very good example of where you've got in SharePoint, for example, there's exact keyword matching versus semantic index or AI, where it goes, oh, this is what you mean. So, yes, being very specific with the words in that version of Microsoft Learn, because it doesn't let you access what you generally see like learning paths and like it's the official what used to be docs or TechNet articles. So it's a bit trickier, and I think it's there just to be another distraction for you in the exam.
I was probably once again a bit more laid back in regards to AI 900. You can't search the MS Learn portal in fundamental exam as a heads up, right? I went and you're Shehan, I also sat SC 100 last year, nailed it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
quite enjoyed it. I think it was what an architect does. It does that upper
Yeah,
level
exactly.
architecture, zero
Not
trust,
just
all
technical,
that,
but
right?
yeah,
It was
yeah,
technical, but it was more of a how are we going to fix this problem rather than
correct.
fixing it. I really
Yeah,
enjoyed it. I
yeah,
then went and did AI 900, went, don't worry, MS Learn portal's in there. I know enough. I'll be right. And there is
yeah,
there is nothing in there. You can't search anything in.
yeah,
So
Fortunately, the fundamentals aren't that technically deep, so you just
I
have to be more
I
breadth.
passed. It's fine. But I went in like, MS Learn and its fundamentals. We got this in the bag.
Mm.
There is no MS Learn in fundamentals. In saying that, I after having finally sat a fundamental, after sitting an expert and many associates, they don't expire. So why wouldn't you
Yeah.
just go and get them
Yeah,
all?
yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna say 2, 3 years ago, you could attend like a virtual training day video webinar, and you'd get a free fundamentals exam out of it. And at that point, why wouldn't you just start the video? You might as well watch it. Microsoft Learn content's there, but a free exam, what are they like $100 Australian?
I think they reduced the price to 90. Didn't that come out as
The November 1st, all prices for us went down $15, I think.
yeah?
But yeah, around
But,
that mark.
but yeah,
So why wouldn't you? Exactly. And there is still, even though they've removed a bunch of different avenues you could go about getting full or partial discounts, there's still ways to get you know more accessible registration fees. Or if you are a Microsoft partner, for example, there are avenues where a distributor can give you access to free or heavily discounted exams as well. So ask. Someone in your business may know something about these discounts or the enablement and so on. So won't go too much into that because that is
I was
bit
gonna say
outside, bit outside. Yeah,
if you're a partner with Microsoft, ESI, the what is it, Enterprise Skills Initiative? I'm pretty sure.
that's slightly different conditions, but I don't know if
Yeah.
they're continuing it.
Oh yeah.
So
At this stage, pretty sure it
it's
still
still
exists.
it's still on, but yeah, getting in might be a bit harder. Is that enterprise agreement only or
I'm not 100%
direct tier
sure.
one? It might be.
I think
Yeah,
it's direct.
there are conditions. Yeah.
Yeah. But there are many avenues, as you said.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
might just be asking around and finding out.
yeah.
But if you don't know, ask the community. Get on LinkedIn and say, hey, anybody know where I can get this content or this learning material? And I'm sure people point you in the right direction.
In saying that, what else that we can discuss? Exams, learning, always a good start to get the attention of anyone who wants to learn about Microsoft technologies. I'm just thinking, how about Intune? If you talk about a little bit about Intune, maybe what's announced in the Ignite, last year's Ignite. Particularly, I'm just checking the Intune stuff here in the book of news. Security Copilot is more platform scenarios now. Sorry, connected to more platform scenarios, so you can get more information once you have the Copilot up and running. And also, have you tried the hardware inventory capability? I think I played around with that. You have the properties catalog apart from the settings catalog. So I thought it's coming for it's everywhere, as in it's for every tenant. I think if you have the right license, then you can start using that, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I believe
pretty
it.
much it's just, yeah. Selecting, yeah, go on. Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Intune licensing, I believe you get a base level of it out Intune Suite, and I think Intune Suite gives you advanced features.
Yeah.
I believe. I personally have found it and gone, excellent. This is going to be really beneficial for Copilot for Intune, which is, hovering around as a capability. Where all of a sudden you can start digging into like property level of devices rather than the holistic upper level.
Yeah, it's good. It's real time. I'm trying to find the so what they say is so the question that most of people are asking. So you have the hardware information anyway. Once the device is enrolled, you have the hardware information. So why do we need another component to give hardware information? So number one, that will be the hardware information will be replaced. So everything will be real time, I think, or the same information. But again, the properties catalog will be real time. So that will be the catch there. And more information about TPM information are there. And KQL would be the main thing again. So you can write KQL queries to understand the device information. Also, with the help of Copilot, you can write your prompt to get the KQL query to get the device information. So that's really good. Also, in the same realm as device information, the hardware inventory, if you check the device query, I'm trying to bind the connection between those two components because it's pretty much the same. Device query, again, if the device is up and running, you can just real-time query the information, what are the tasks that opens and everything, tasks that are running. So I'm just trying to, probably a blog post is coming up, just to understand, someone can ask, okay, I got two stuff running over here, what's the relationship? So so that will be probably a good topic to talk about maybe in a later episode as well. So that's something I found really interesting in Intune, other than your standard policies coming up. And I saw the ADMX component is going out, or the administration templates are going out, administrative templates, yeah, and that will be available in the settings catalog going forward, or maybe right now. So in the templates, if you go, you can't. If it will be, it will go away. And anything that you want to find for administrative templates, they will be under settings catalog, I guess.
Yeah, I believe legacy policies, any new policies, to settings catalog.
Yes.
I don't think there's anything that you need to like fret and stress out about. But I think with the whole, group policy analysis and ingesting policies from your, your on-prem group policy server, moving to the settings catalog, It makes sense just to start aligning so that everything is one, so you don't just have 100 different template types, and then the only ones you commonly use are like your admin templates, your custom, and your set.
Yeah.
It's good they're starting to refine it. It's going to make building IP as well as just sharing things with the community, streamlining how things should be done. Less confusion always going to equal a better outcome.
Yeah. And I was just playing around with the new autopilots, which came a couple of months ago, the autopilot version 2, so to speak. That was really interesting as well. So you don't need to register the device. It's just if you have the group created in the correct way, so the device can get enrolled in real time. I think I need to refresh my memory, but I helped a customer going with that because their challenge was we have users in all other places in different countries. Sometimes they're working from home, they're not coming to the office. And it's logistics wise, it's really hard to get everything to the IT department and send. So what their current practice is, they get the user to buy a laptop from somewhere, and then they give passwords, admin passwords, to log in, do the stuff, and then they jump in. They get the user to install the remote application. It's really old school. So really replaced that whole process with the new autopilot, which was really good. So yeah, they were really happy with that, actually.
In
Yeah.
in a way, would you say that's almost like a BYOD Windows device that gets enrolled? Is that sort of
Well, I that was the question that I had as well. Earlier, the setting was when they first introduced the autopilot version 2, the BYOD enrollments, if you block it, it will not work at all. So in the platform restrictions, I think it's in the platform restrictions, you can block BYOD. So ideally, you need to have the device serial number first entered. So serial number, because earlier you had to go to the sending the hardware hash to the Intune to get it registered. So if you're not IT savvy, sometimes you have to guide the if the user is not IT savvy, you have to guide the user to run the PowerShell shift F10 and everything. But right now, just need the serial number to import it into Intune, so that's done, and then you can switch off the BYOD stuff. So that means if the device, let's say I have a device, and if I don't have the serial number imported into Intune, and if I try to enroll this device, it will not get enrolled. So basically, it will just stop right there. So that's a good restriction, I believe. Yeah.
As of recent, I'm pretty sure that Intune finally released the ability to have like device identifiers for Windows, so that you can allow
Yes.
for enrollment for specific types of devices. Whereas
Yes.
before, I'm almost certain it was just mobile, so like your Android and your
Yeah.
iPhone.
Yeah.
Recently, they had Windows. So by default, you can set up some parameters in place to safeguard your environment. If you're only
Yeah.
operating on a certain vendor type, you've
Yeah.
only got Lenovo. You can already put some of that guardrails in place for your environment. Which, yeah, I personally haven't yet used the V2 autopilot, but from my understanding, it kind of takes on a bit more of that old, configuration manager, SOE build process rather than you're in Intune.
Yeah. Kind of like that, and also talk about the SOE stuff. So you can set everything up, right? So the user doesn't have to, click next and whatnot. So right now, I feel like that autopilot profile is not 100% up there. Whereas the standard autopilots, the previous autopilot versions, you can hide the keyboard and everything. You can hide the switches that they would get for security, because it's all pre-set up earlier. So right now, of course, even user has to set the computer name. I haven't checked it in a couple of months, but I think it's the same still. So you just have to set the computer name and also press next for a couple of times. But from that point onwards, it's all automated. The applications will get installed and everything. But still, there are some things that manual at the moment until it gets go to the flow of autopilot. Application installation. But I think, again, coming back to the policies, you can say these are the policies or these are the config profiles I need to push during the autopilot process. Whereas in the previous autopilot, first the device needs to get enrolled, registered, enrolled, and then the policies would come. So you can, your critical policies can be sent via the autopilot process itself.
Yeah, my understanding was you could almost ensure that your base configuration is in place prior to seeing data. Like you put in the
Yes.
guardrails before. You put in the guardrails before you progress down further into
Correct. Yeah.
here's your OneDrive, here's your email, which I think is brilliant, right? Before it was you have a fresh laptop, you're Intune enrolled, and you've just got compliance policy doing its best, right? But you tick the boxes in that and you're in, and
Yeah.
nothing else is in place, and you kind of just hope that your catalog of potential policies are all going to implement exactly then. There's all your config profiles, go go go. But now it's more of a let's ensure that everything that we define to be base, whether that be your baselines or your office macro blocking, stuff like that. All of that it's good to see that they're moving down that path, because I think that configuration manager, one of the best things that the tool does to this day is onboarding.
Yeah, I think that's the main question that lots of people have as well. Where config manager, the sequence would run very quickly, and the laptop or the device will get ready as soon as possible. Whereas in Intune, it will take a couple of hours, maybe, or maybe a couple of tries as well. Not a couple of hours, I would say, but definitely more than time that the config manager would take, but sometimes couple of takes as well, device resets and everything. So I think it's going in a good path right now. Compared to when I first started with Intune to today, I've seen a lot of less issues, but more good comments from people, customers. Yeah, when it comes to device preparation and setting up that SOE in the cloud rather than just using on-prem.
Yeah, as all these technologies mature, given the opportunity to mature, we can slowly seeing where they're going, and I think at the same time it's also a sign of things that will eventually retire. So I think WSUS, Windows Server Update Services, that got the retire message or announcement recently. So there won't be further development on that. So you can see there's Windows Auto Patch. There's Intune handles a little bit of Windows updates as well. So there are options moving forward. Config Manager probably also going soon, TM. That the community wants to hold on to it, so it might still have a few years left in it. But as you work with code management, where you have essentially a hybrid configuration of Config Manager and Intune, everyone's going to be dragging all those sliders all the way right sooner or later. And with the changes to even the ADMX stuff as well, that's group policy. So you're going to see people migrating from on-prem or hybrid straight to cloud. We're getting there. Maybe another 5 years, and we'll see it becoming a more of a standard project, I guess, for most MSPs.
I think for the GPOs and stuff, the main problem where everyone has got, all right, so we got these 101 policies. We need to move. We don't know who created these policies, or they are not there in the organization anymore. So no one wants to touch those stuff. I think the best thing that Microsoft has done with the whole the group policy analytics, so you can just get the XML file uploaded into Intune to see what policies or what settings it can support, and pretty much do your testing with a test workstation to see how it affects. And there can be some settings in that policy where no one is using at the moment. So you can just remove those stuff, gradually just move the policies into the cloud.
I think with that exactly right. You have 100 odd group policies because you have one that does one setting. That was great, right? But an analysis gives you the option to like collapse multiple policies to be one configuration profile, which I think is a brilliant way to go. Oh, well, we also need to clean up before we go to the cloud. We've got 100 group policies. These 20 actually do the same thing, and then in the migration process, migrate and merge those to be together to be your base, right? And then pushing forward, all of a sudden we need to do our SOE build through, bloody hell, through autopilot, auto everything, right? Through autopilot, ensuring that gets pushed during the process. Yeah, I think things will start to decommission in the on-prem space when Microsoft is at a state where they go like, right, everything from here is like improved, right? I still feel like in Intune space, they've got bits and pieces that they can work on and improve on. And I think until then, config managers going to remain. But at least until that stage, always be looking at what can be moved to the cloud. It has many a benefit. I don't need to go.
Yeah, I think when it comes to that, so if we talk about Entra, the user lifecycle manager, and it just creates your JML stuff, joiner, mover, lever processes where you can disable the accounts. Let's say your account is on fully Entra and it's all Intune joined and everything. So when the you can set up the leave date, join date, and the leave date as well in those attributes. So once you set that up, so it will everything will be automated as well. I think we can definitely dedicate one episode onto that to discuss about use lifecycle workflows. And the ID governance side of things. So ID governance is a big thing where we should not be able to cover in one episode for sure. But yeah, definitely those are good stuff when it comes to security.
Yeah, in terms of an Intune space, I think 100% we'll be covering Intune Suite coming up.
Yeah.
Once again, that's essentially just trying to collapse a lot of what would essentially be third-party products within the Intune area, which I think is going to be beneficial. Obviously, you've got things like your enterprise application management, which is your patch management for applications, which at this stage, some of the most defaults are third-party, right? Or hope for the best. But by default, that's in place. You've got remote access ability now through Intune Suite, so all of a sudden you don't need your third-party RMM tools. I think once all the RMM capabilities start to reside within Intune, that Intune Suite's going to pop off. So yeah, I'd be interested to cover that off in upcoming episodes.
Yeah.
Same angle with the Entra Suite Entra Suite as well. That's also third-party things coming in. So main one being global secure access,
Exactly.
removing VPNs and having everything go through conditional access. So you're building on that zero trust access as well.
Can see how PAM finally coming into the Entra space as well. It's obviously it's there in the AD, in the local side of things, the on-prem, but as PIM, the privilege access account management coming into the scene, so you can mix and match with your PIM settings as well when it comes to your conditional access policies, how you want to give access, and before giving access, what you want to do. So it can be a local resource or a cloud resource. It doesn't matter. So I think, as you said, Andrew, the third party applications can be, the features are coming into Entra, which is pretty much the same ecosystem. So it will be easy for the users of that, being the same. And obviously most of the times you have the license already, so you don't need to purchase another add-on or anything like that. It's already in the license. So start using them, and then slowly migrate those features, the settings from the third-party applications or products into Entra, because it's everything in it's your all-in-one shop sort of thing.
Most of those licenses you can get on a trial as well, so you
Mhm.
can try them before you buy them. So
Yeah,
if it
yeah,
doesn't work for you yet, at least you're not out of pocket. If it does, then excellent. But yeah, most of those licenses you can get on a trial. That's always a benefit.
Yeah, and generally I go for 90 days. That's enough time for you to create policies, apply in test mode, check it all out, remediate, and if you are ready, that's get some extra time to do some bigger pilot groups, and then do the recruitment of licensing as well. Doesn't go well, you can always just turn it off. Right? Making sure you haven't just enable assign it to everyone in the business and kind of affected their productivity in the day.
yeah,
So fun times. Um,
yeah.
so probably want to, yeah. I mean, good. We've introduced ourselves, the podcast, a little bit of what we want to talk about in upcoming episodes. So I think we're getting close to an hour now, so it's probably a good time to maybe wrap up episode 0. But yeah, just like to thank you as the audience for tuning into either the vodcast or the podcast, whatever medium that you favor. And yeah, thanks for your
Yeah,
unwavering support, and we'll hope to see you
you
around.
mentioned the site, sorry, the spaces that you can the people can find us, maybe LinkedIn.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
LinkedIn, by default, we're all professionals in our own space. So LinkedIn is easily where you can find both the podcast and all of us. We will be uploading this to YouTube as well as some podcasts, like streaming services such as Spotify, I believe Apple as well. But we also will look towards other avenues.
yeah,
I think moving forward, we also wouldn't mind, expanding, having a couple guests, doing some live AMAs where we can fire this up in YouTube Live or Twitch, and have some general questions. We have a Discord which we are now opening up, which we can by all means jump in, see when we're going to go live next, ask any questions. If you have questions, we'll try and answer them during these sessions as well. So if we can't answer them on the fly, if there's something that we can demo, by all means we can do that. So a lot of avenues where you can find us. But yeah, once again, echoing Andrew, appreciate your time.
and we'll drop all the notes and links and notes into the show notes as well.
yeah.
So don't worry about taking them down as we're talking about them. But yeah, on all those mediums, we'll have it all in the description for you to access.
No, brilliant. Yeah.
With that, so until the next episode, thank you all, and hope to see you all soon.
Cheers, everybody.
See ya.
Thank you.